Spin, spin, spin. Topspin, backspin, sidespin, slice. Slice? Really? What are we eating, pie? I don't think so. Too many things are referred to as too many different things. For example, there are too many things that are called a slice. They call a slice backspin shot. They call a slice a serve. The serve has side spin, or at minimum diagonal. How can a slice be both? Obviously, that's not cool. That's why there's a lot of misinterpretation as to really what is going on with spin. Topspin, there's a myth. Everybody thinks that topspin is hitting over top of the ball or over top of the ball. Well, in some cases it is. A more advanced level of topspin, you do hit over top of the ball to spin it and make it go up. You can make it go up by using friction. The friction drags the ball up, so it does still go up and over the net. But it has to be at accelerated racket speeds, which aren't, like in my previous video, going to hurt your body. Last thing you want to do is hurt your body. Then you can't play tennis for who knows how long, because tennis elbow, which is in this outer part of the arm and on the inner part of the arm, both are very painful. You can't even squeeze a glass of water to pick it up and drink it. Then you're going to die of thirst. What's that all about? Oh my goodness. In this video, we're going to be handling topspin, which is hitting over top of the ball at advanced levels. We're going to be hitting topspin, which is at basic levels. So a basic topspin, you're going to go up and under and roll the ball. In an advanced spin, you're going to be using the friction and dragging the ball up with your strings to finish and make the swing happen. So we're going to be covering all of that. We're going to be covering backspin. I'll even show you a couple serves with spin. Okay? So there's going to be a lot covered in this video. Stay tuned, subscribe, and be ready to see a lot of things in this video. Topspin, side spin, backspin, diagonal spin. It's making my head spin. I don't know about you, but I am so thankful with all this information that I'm getting that it's going to help me learn to handle the movement of the ball so much better. Thank you, Coach George. You'll notice that in the advanced topspin, the racket is actually making contact with the mid to upper portion of the ball, dragging it upward, causing it to roll end over end and clear the height of the net. Whether it's an open stance, which in this case it is, or a closed stance, the action still is the same when applied to the ball. When hitting an inside-out forehand, you'll move to the left and hit the inside of the ball so it goes to the outside of the corner. The advanced spins can be hit whether the ball is on the way up or the way down. Even if the ball is hit out of the air without it bouncing, the advanced spins still can apply and be very effective in match play. When hitting spin on a high ball, the racket actually moves across the ball, causing it to have a diagonal roll on it. This diagonal spin still causes the ball to curve downward, but also kind of an inside-out curve as well.
When hitting a low ball with topspin, it frequently creates a diagonal side spin, but from the lower end upward, causing the ball to curve from outside to inside, as well as down. You'll see the ball has a diagonal spin, making it curve in that manner. Basic topspin. First of all, let me explain. The ball is round. There is no flat ball. When the ball gets hit, every time the ball has some kind of roll or movement on it. Saying that, if you start below the ball and go up, the ball will roll off your strings as you see it happening here. The slower you do it, the more you'll feel it and see the action actually happen. Being that it is rolling, you need to hit below the middle of the ball and roll upward, as you see happening here on the iCoach. What this will do is cause the ball to have an arc. In the past, the term flat really demonstrated or depicted a ball that was hit more of like on a clothesline or straight. Even those straight balls had a side spin at minimum to it. Okay, so realize the term flat really means straight. And what we want to do is have a ball that has a curve on it. That's why we want it to roll. Every ball sport, soccer, golf, basketball, baseball, even football, the ball is controlled by the roll or the spiral or the spin that is imparted on the ball. You could look at it as addressing the ball a certain way, whether it means hitting it straight on or rolling upward on the ball. Okay? So I hope that clarifies a lot more. You'll see a lot of these hits happening here on the iCoach, so you can see the ball spinning in slow motion. If you look at the hits that are live in slow motion, you'll also see that they have a rolling effect, which is actually the spin that is being talked about in the game of tennis. Backspin, as opposed to a slice, is actually starting higher than the ball and sliding down to cause the ball to roll backwards. A slice is termed for many spinning shots, but the actual term should be recognized that the ball is spinning backwards. Topspin on the backhand, whether it be advanced or whether it be the basic, whether it be side spin, just like on the forehand, it is applied in the exact same manner except on the other side of your body. So as a result, the ball rotation actually ends up rotating in the opposite direction. So as you see here, the high ball rotates diagonally, just the opposite of the forehand on a diagonal roll. And on the low backhand, the ball actually rolls in the opposite direction from the slower point, but still in a diagonal roll, causing it to curve. You'll notice that on the basic topspin, the racket starts lower than the height of the ball and moves up the ball in an angle that allows and causes the ball to roll off in an upward movement. But to do this, you must be hitting the bottom of the ball rolling upward, as you see happening here. It happens whether the ball is high or even if you let it drop lower. You still must start below the ball and end up higher than the ball. When hitting backspin, there are some balls that are higher and there's some balls that are lower. When you're hitting a high ball with backspin, you start higher than the ball and come down. When hitting a ball that is lower, you actually start low and slide your racket forward under it and kind of off to the side a little bit, causing it to have a little bit of a side spin as well as backspin. The top spin that is advanced on a two-handed backhand is just like on the one-hand backhand or forehand. The racket must hit the ball on the way up and over to create the spin. The largest difference with the two-handed shot is most people think it's still their dominant hand that does most of the work. It is actually the hand behind the racket, which is their opposite hand or their least dominant hand, doing most of the work, and they need to let the other hand relax. I will eventually be doing a separate segment on the two-handed backhand where I will go into all the details of the two-handed stroke. If you've noticed, when hitting the diagonal movement on the low ball, whether it be forehand or backhand, one hand or two hand, there is a step that comes after the swing that helps you wrap your movement around the ball, creating the diagonal roll on the ball. But in using the eye coach or in seeing the eye coach, you can see how that movement on the ball is actually happening. For the basic topspin, the ball will be dropping just like on the other strokes as the angle of the racket goes up the ball, causing a roll, and then continues past the height where you make contact with the ball. Okay, here we are. Serves. Serve for the slice and serve for the kick. I will be addressing them both in this segment. If you notice, the toss for the side spin or slice is off to the side of the person, not over top of the person. That way, the racket can move sideways and diagonally on the racket, creating a side spin or a diagonal spin, which is causing it to curve. Also notice that the toss is not as high as people believe it is. That way, the racket has freedom to move past the ball with motion and movement in the wrist and the elbow, helping to relieve the strain on the body. Again, if you notice very closely, you'll see that the arm is not fully extended when it goes past the ball. That way, it allows the racket to move the ball in a way that's going to allow it to have spin without hurting your body. Now, in this particular video, we are not going into the complete details of how to hit a serve, how the body works, how the legs work, how the arms work, how the core works. What we are mainly focusing on is how we want to make sure we address the ball and where the ball needs to be so we can address it in a proper manner to get it to have the spin we want. As we start building the body parts in the serve, we'll go into a more specific video describing how to hit a serve more effectively. If you've ever tried to learn to hit a kick serve, you always hear somebody talking about throw it behind you. Well, there's two directions that matter. One direction is not throwing it into the court, but closer behind you toward the fence so that it's over your back shoulder or closer to that distance when you make contact. The second thing is making sure that the ball is over top of your head. If you notice, the toss is at a position where it's almost directly over the person's head, and it's low enough that your racket can still move upward when it makes contact with the ball. Again, notice the location of the toss. The toss is going to be much lower and your arm will not be fully extended, and the contact point is actually over top of the hitting shoulder, not in front of the body. So when you watch this kick serve in full action, they are throwing the ball or tossing the ball at a place slightly in front, then jumping so that they are slightly past it and upward so they can still address the ball in the same manner as when they're standing still. Ball using their body will allow them to create a faster racket speed, hitting a better shot and a more effective shot. But it takes a lot of practice to know where you have to jump to and what you're actually doing to the ball. So give yourself time to work on it. This can be a very complicated serve, so I want you again, notice what the arm is doing so it has very little stress in the arm. Otherwise, you can really injure yourself. So racket goes up, pass the ball, and then tucks itself under your arm so the elbow is never hyperextended.
All this spin. Oh my goodness. Really? Did I do that? I hope he's helping you guys like he's helping me. Topspin, backspin, sidespin. It was making my head spin.